A herdsman's son grew tall and kind, and one bright morning he walked his cattle up the gentle mountain path to the lake. The water was so still that it looked like a silver mirror, and there he saw a lady combing her long hair with a soft, shining comb. The young man stood very still, for he had never seen anyone so graceful and calm. He offered her the bread and cheese he had brought from home, but she smiled and did not take them. When he tried to reach for her, she slipped away like a dream and said his bread was too hard baked for her to stay. The boy went home with a puzzled heart and told his mother every detail. His mother listened carefully and guessed that a little change might help, so she told him to bring dough that was not baked at all. The next day, he returned before sunrise and waited by the lake, watching the breeze make tiny rings on the water. He waited so long that the mountain shadows grew short, then long again, and still the lady did not come. At last he noticed some cattle in need of help on the far slope, and he hurried to guide them safely. When he reached the lake again, the lady appeared once more, lovelier than a summer song. This time he offered her the soft dough, and she accepted it with a gentle nod. She said she would marry him if he promised never to strike her 3 times without reason. The young man promised at once because he wanted only to share a peaceful life with her. Soon after, she disappeared beneath the water, and he waited with hopeful patience. When he was grieving, a wise old father rose from the lake with 2 identical maidens. The father asked him to choose his bride, and the young man looked carefully, remembering the tiny way she tied her sandal. He chose correctly, and the father was pleased. As a wedding gift, the bride received many sheep, cattle, goats, and horses, counted from the lake with one breath. The couple lived happily, and their farm became bright with milk, laughter, and 3 fine sons. Years passed with work, songs, and kind days, until the wife gently warned her husband to remember his promise. Once, at a christening, he tapped her shoulder in a playful hurry and said, "Go, go!" And she softly reminded him that this was one warning. Another time, at a joyful feast, she cried suddenly, and later he touched her shoulder with concern, learning that this was a second warning. Still they lived well, and he tried to be careful, for he loved her deeply. Then one day, at a quiet funeral, she laughed because sorrow had ended for the one who had died. But her husband, startled by the sound, touched her shoulder again, and at once she knew the promise had been broken. She said goodbye kindly, returned to the lake, and called her animals home with a clear voice. The sheep, goats, cattle, and horses followed her. Her sons often wandered near the lake, hoping to see her again. One day she appeared to the eldest, at what became known as the physician's gate. She gave him a bag of medical knowledge, later showed her sons healing herbs at a spot still called the Dingle of the Physicians, and their descendants became the renowned physicians of Mydfaii for generations to come.